Okay, one of the most requested topics that I get as a memory expert is how do I deal with abstract information, right? Information that's technical or things that don't necessarily get created as an image in your head straight away, right? Hence, that's why they're abstract, right? So you might be reading something, you might come across some information, and it makes you go back and reread it over and over again, and you still forget. Right? Sometimes, most of the time, you'll probably get it, but a lot of the times you'll, just won't understand what it is, right? And what a lot of people do that I've found that do get into memory is you try and memorize those words, but it becomes a challenge. And the reason for that is that if you've got an abstract word, I'll just draw this as an abstract word by its own, then what happens is that on its own, there is no context. So it becomes very difficult to create something from the abstract bit of information. Let's say we have the word necessary, right? Let's say the word is necessary in there. Now, if I was to create an image that resembled necessary, it's going to be very difficult for me, right? Because I have no context. I have to rely on pure creativity to create something out of nothing. Now, if I have another word underneath, let's say the word is cat, right? Now, I'm just totally making this up. Now, what I can do is I can combine these two together, necessary and cat. So I can now create context behind it. So the cat was necessary, right, in my life, right? It was necessary for the cat to run away from the dog. Do you see what I mean? So this bit of context helps you with the abstract information, right? You don't have to be able to visualize or create a strong image for this abstract word. You can connect it to something else and then let that give you a visual, right? Let's look at another example. Let's say, what's another abstract word? Let's say the word obligation. Let's write that a bit bigger. Obligation. And let's say, what's another abstract word? Experience. So let's do two abstract words. Obligation and experience. Now, you can create context around that as well, right? If you just try and create an image from that, yes, you can, right? If you're good with your imagination, if you're good with visual encoding, you can do that. But mostly it's a challenge, right? Mostly it's very, very difficult. So obligation and experience, right? What you can do, and this is something that I've developed just working with just a ton of clients over 21 years, is look at, okay, what does obligation give you? What are some of the things that come into your head with obligation, right? And it could be anything. So one could be marriage, one could be obligation, your responsibilities, similar to marriage, I guess. Obligation as a person, obligation in your business or whatever it is. What's your obligation? So you might think of a scenario where you're obliged for something or someone or the environment, right? Experience. You can think of someone who's old. You can think of white hair, same as old. You can think of maybe your job. Maybe you're quite experienced in your job. I know it's got a D at the end, but we're playing on abstract words here, and so on, right? So you're creating other images, right? And I call these attributes, right? So you've got attributes of the context that's going to be provided. And what you can do now is, because you've got these attributes, you can make stories now from the attributes. So you've got, let's say you're taking this old person experience and let's connect it to marriage because it's right there, right? So old person, marriage, you think, okay, old people are obligated to each other because I've got experience in the marriage or something like that, right? So you can play around with stories like that. Now, I just quickly made that. But for someone else, yeah, you could take a little bit more time. Maybe you did it faster than me. Cool. Right? You can also do this one. So I don't know, I can't remember what P was, maybe principles or something like that. But there you go, there's my memory. So P could be connected here, R could be connected there, and so on. So now you've got a nice little exercise to work on to improve your abstract understanding and the word, because the goal is not just to understand really what the word means. The goal is to understand what the word means in the right context. Because if you can do that, that's when you're really speaking a language. That's when you're really understanding the language. And you can apply this to languages that you're learning new as well. So if you're just learning, ni hao ma, well, yeah, hi, how are you going? But if you create context around it, I'm meeting someone new, or I met, the taxi driver, or I'm going to the airport, I'm saying, do you see what I mean? You're creating context, you're understanding the language better. That also helps you to encode a lot better as well, which is what memory training is all about. How could I encode a lot better, memorize more effectively, and recall in an instant? Because if you don't do the memorization really well, the recall suffers. If you do the memorization really well, you'll get instant recall. So that's what it is. Hopefully that's made a bit of sense. If it hasn't, message me and I'll help you out. And we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.